She was 49, a busy accountant, and she swore she was doing everything right. She skipped dessert, she cut her portions in half, she walked every evening after dinner. And yet, her jeans kept getting tighter. One day she told me, half laughing, but with tears in her eyes, "Doctor, I must be broken." And I'll never forget what I told her. "You're not broken. You're being betrayed, not by your willpower, not by your discipline, but by your own biology, a hormonal trap that almost no one over 40 is warned about." See, we've been told for decades that fat gain is all about calories in and calories out. Eat less, move more, and the pounds will melt away. But here's the truth that shocked her and might shock you too. Your body's ability to burn fat isn't controlled by a calculator. It's controlled by a hormone. And that hormone is likely working against you every single morning. The crazy part? You could be doing everything right and still be setting yourself up for fat storage before you've even finished your first cup of coffee. Today, I want to pull back the curtain on what's really happening in your body when you wake up, why mornings are the most dangerous time for weight gain after 40, and how a simple shift, something I call the insulin trick, can turn your mornings into the most powerful fat-burning window of your day. And no, it doesn't involve starving yourself, skipping meals forever, or doing punishing workouts before sunrise. So let's start with the first truth you've probably never heard: the real reason your fat cells grow in the first place.
Most people believe fat cells grow simply because we eat too much. That's the story we've been told since we were kids. Too many calories equals more fat. Sounds logical, until you see what actually happens under a microscope. In my lab, we grow fat cells in little petri dishes. We give them everything they could possibly need: a nutrient-rich solution packed with calories. It's like an all-you-can-eat buffet for cells. And yet, nothing happens. They just sit there, small and quiet. But then, we add one thing. Just one. Insulin. And it's like someone flipped a switch. 6 hours later, we see little lipid droplets forming inside the cells. Another 6 hours, and they've grown even bigger. It's instant fat storage mode. This isn't just a lab trick. Real-life proof is even more striking. People with type 1 diabetes, whose bodies can't make insulin, literally cannot store fat unless they take insulin injections. There's even a dangerous condition called diabulimia, where young people with type 1 diabetes deliberately underdose their insulin to stay thin. They can eat whatever they want and still not gain fat, but at a deadly cost. The point is simple. Insulin is the gatekeeper of your fat cells. Without it, those cells stay locked. With too much of it, they stay open, storing everything you eat, even if you're eating healthy. And here's where it gets even trickier. Mornings are the time when insulin is most likely to betray you, even if you haven't eaten yet. Let's talk about why, and what's secretly happening inside your body before breakfast.
Most people think fat gain is all about eating too much, but in my experience, that's only part of the story. In fact, when we take fat cells into the lab and look at them up close, a different truth starts to appear. Picture this. Inside a petri dish, we place fat cells in a warm, nutrient-rich environment surrounded by every calorie they could possibly need. Proteins, fats, carbohydrates. It's an all-you-can-eat buffet at the cellular level. And yet, nothing happens. Those cells just sit there, small and still, not storing anything. Then, we add one more ingredient, insulin. It's almost like flipping on a light switch. Within 6 hours, we can see tiny lipid droplets forming inside the cells. Another 6 hours, and those droplets have grown even bigger. This is the moment fat storage truly begins, and it happens because insulin has given the command. That's in the lab, but the real world tells the same story, sometimes in heartbreaking ways. In people with type 1 diabetes, whose bodies don't produce insulin naturally, fat gain simply doesn't happen unless they inject insulin. There's even a dangerous condition known as diabulimia, where young people deliberately underdose their insulin to stay thin. They can eat anything they want and still not gain weight, but at a devastating cost, putting their lives at risk from severe complications. These examples may be extreme, but the lesson is clear. Insulin isn't just a blood sugar hormone, it's the gatekeeper to your fat cells. If insulin levels are high, your body is primed to store energy as fat, even if you're eating healthy foods. If insulin stays low, your body is far more willing to use that energy instead of locking it away. And here's the surprising part. There's a specific time of day when your insulin is naturally more likely to work against you, even before you take your first bite. In the next section, we'll explore why mornings can quietly set the stage for fat storage and how to turn that around in your favor.
If you've ever felt like the rules of weight loss suddenly changed on you sometime after your 40th birthday, you're not imagining it. The truth is, your body is not the same as it was in your 20s or 30s. And that's not a bad thing, it's just biology. As we age, a few key shifts happen that quietly work against us. First, hormones like estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone begin to decline, which affects how your body manages fat and muscle. Second, muscle mass naturally decreases unless we work to maintain it, and less muscle means a slower metabolism. Third, your cells often become less sensitive to insulin, so the same foods that were harmless before can now push your body into fat storage mode more easily. I've had patients tell me, "Doctor, I'm eating healthier than I ever have, and I'm still gaining weight." And when we look closer, their breakfast is oatmeal with fruit or whole grain toast with a little honey. Meals that sound wholesome but spike insulin higher than they realize, especially in the morning when the body is already more insulin resistant. To make matters worse, life after 40 often comes with more stress, less sleep, and less time for exercise, all of which raise cortisol, another hormone that can make fat loss harder. The lesson here is not that weight loss is impossible after 40, but that it requires a smarter approach. Instead of fighting your body with extreme diets or punishing workouts, you need to work with your biology, choosing foods, meal timing, and habits that lower insulin, protect muscle, and keep your hormones balanced. And one of the biggest opportunities to do that happens in the very first hours of your day. In the next part, we'll uncover a hidden morning hormone shift that can either sabotage your progress or supercharge your fat burning. Every night while you sleep, your body runs through a series of natural processes to prepare you for the day ahead. One of the most important is something called the dawn effect. A few hours before you wake, often around 4 a.m., your brain signals your adrenal glands to release cortisol. This is not a bad thing. It's your body's way of gently nudging you out of deep sleep and getting your systems online. Cortisol tells your liver to release stored glucose into your bloodstream, making fuel available for your waking brain and muscles. But here's the catch. More glucose in your blood means your pancreas needs to produce more insulin to manage it. And in the early morning hours, your cells are naturally a bit more resistant to insulin's signal. That means any food you eat right after waking, especially something sugary or starchy, is more likely to be stored as fat instead of burned for energy. Imagine this. You roll out of bed and head straight for a bowl of cereal, a banana, or a muffin with your coffee. On the surface, it feels like you're fueling your day, but hormonally, you're pouring gasoline on an already burning fire. Cortisol and insulin are both high, and your body is primed for storage, not fat burning. The insight here is simple but powerful. Mornings are not all equal. The first hour or two after waking can either set you up for a day of stable energy and fat use, or lock you into a cycle of cravings and storage. Once you understand this, you can start making small shifts in your morning routine that make a huge difference. And that's where a strategy I call the insulin trick comes in. A simple change that turns your most dangerous fat storage window into your most powerful fat burning one. Now that you know your mornings can be a hormonal minefield, let's talk about how to turn them into your secret weapon for fat loss. The insulin trick is a simple, science-backed shift that works with your biology
instead of against it. The idea is to delay your first meal by just 30 to 60 minutes after waking, giving your cortisol levels time to naturally settle before you introduce food. During that window, focus on light, non-stressful activity. Maybe take a short walk, sip water or herbal tea, do some gentle stretching, or plan your day. This isn't about skipping breakfast altogether, unless you want to. It's about timing it right, so your body is primed to burn rather than store. When you do eat, make it count. Choose a low-carb, protein-rich breakfast. Think eggs with avocado, Greek yogurt with nuts, or a veggie omelet, instead of cereal, toast, or pancakes. I've had patients make this one change and tell me their mid-morning crashes and cravings almost disappeared. One woman in her 50s told me she went from feeling hungry again by 10 a.m. to feeling full and energized well past lunch. The lesson is that you don't have to overhaul your entire diet to see progress. Sometimes, it's about mastering the first decision of the day. By delaying breakfast slightly and choosing foods that keep insulin low, you set your body into fat-burning mode for hours. And here's the bonus. You can combine this with other small, sustainable habits to amplify the effect. In the next part, we'll talk about one of the biggest factors that can make or break your success with the insulin trick: your sleep and stress levels, and why they matter far more than most people realize.
If you've ever woken up after a restless night and found yourself craving pastries or sugary coffee drinks, that's not just lack of willpower. It's your hormones talking. When you don't get enough quality sleep, your body treats it as a form of stress. And the first thing it does in response is pump out more cortisol, especially in the morning. For someone over 40, that's a double whammy, because your cells are already a bit more insulin resistant when you wake up. Higher cortisol means even more glucose released into your bloodstream and in turn, more insulin to deal with it. The result? You're starting your day with a fat storage signal already switched on, and your hunger hormones are thrown out of balance. I remember a patient who was diligent about her diet and followed the insulin trick perfectly, but she still struggled with stubborn cravings and midday energy crashes. It turned out she was averaging only 5 hours of sleep, often waking up at 2 or 3 a.m. and checking her phone. Once we focused on improving her sleep, a consistent bedtime, a cool and dark bedroom, and cutting off screen time an hour before bed, her cravings eased, her morning energy soared, and the scale finally started moving. The lesson here is simple but powerful. Your morning metabolism isn't just shaped by what you eat when you wake up, it's shaped by how you slept the night before and how your body perceives stress. Better sleep equals better hormone balance, which makes every other fat loss strategy work more effectively. And while improving sleep takes effort, it's one of the most rewarding changes you can make. In the next part, we'll address another sneaky morning habit that can quietly sabotage your insulin levels before you've even had a bite to eat, and it's sitting right in your coffee mug. For many of us, that first cup of coffee in the morning feels non-negotiable. It's the ritual that signals the start of the day, the comfort in our hands before we've even fully opened our eyes. But here's something most people over 40 don't realize. The timing of your coffee can quietly work against your weight loss efforts. In the early morning, your cortisol is already high, thanks to the dawn effect. When you drink coffee right away, especially if it's paired with something carb-heavy, like toast or a muffin, you create a perfect storm for spiking insulin. Caffeine by itself can temporarily raise insulin levels, but when it's combined with carbohydrates, your body has to pump out even more insulin to manage the resulting blood sugar surge. I once had a patient who swore she couldn't start her day without coffee and a bagel. She followed the insulin trick and exercised regularly, but saw little progress. Once she shifted her coffee to mid-morning, after a protein-rich breakfast, she noticed her energy was more stable, her cravings dropped, and the scale finally began to move in the right direction. The takeaway isn't that coffee is bad, far from it. Coffee can be part of a healthy routine, but when you drink, it matters just as much as what you put in it. If you want to get the most from your morning hormone window, delay your coffee until after your first balanced meal, or at least pair it with protein and healthy fats instead of sugar and starch. This small change can make your whole morning metabolism work more in your favor.
And when you combine smart coffee timing with the other strategies we've covered, you're building a morning routine that naturally keeps insulin in check. In our final section, we'll bring all of these pieces together into a clear morning blueprint you can start using tomorrow. One that turns the first hours of your day into your strongest ally for sustainable fat loss. Now that we've uncovered how your hormones behave in the morning and the hidden traps that can work against you, let's put it all together into a simple, repeatable plan. Think of this as your morning blueprint, a series of small steps that, when combined, create a powerful, fat-burning environment for the rest of your day. First, when you wake up, resist the urge to head straight to the kitchen. Give yourself 30 to 60 minutes before your first meal. Use that time for light movement, a short walk, stretching, or even just sitting quietly with a glass of water or herbal tea. This allows your cortisol to settle and keeps insulin from spiking too soon. Second, when it's time to eat, choose a breakfast that's low in sugar and starch, but rich in protein and healthy fats. Think eggs with spinach and avocado, Greek yogurt with nuts, or a vegetable omelet with olive oil. This not only keeps insulin low, but also gives you stable energy for hours. Third, delay your coffee until after you've eaten, or at least pair it with protein and healthy fats instead of pastries or bread. Fourth, protect your sleep like it's part of your weight loss plan, because it is. A consistent bedtime, a cool, dark room, and less screen time before bed can dramatically improve your hormone balance in the morning. Finally, track how you feel. Notice your hunger, your cravings, and your energy levels. When you see those improve, you'll know your body is shifting into a healthier rhythm. The beauty of this blueprint is that it's not extreme, it's not complicated, and it doesn't require you to live in the gym or count every calorie. It's about working with your body's natural timing, instead of fighting against it. And when you start your day this way, you're not just burning more fat, you're setting the tone for better choices, steadier energy, and a healthier relationship with food all day long. So tomorrow morning, try it. Your future self will thank you. Thanks for listening. I'm Dr. Jonathan Blake Carter, always bringing you useful information about health. Thanks for watching. Remember, your health is your greatest asset. If you found this video helpful, give it a like, share it with someone who might need it. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. We'll keep bringing you clear, science-backed information on obesity, weight control, and living your healthiest life, so you can take charge of your future, starting today.